And when you are a big fan of something as influential and great as Game of Thrones, you can't help but include small elements, if not big elements, from a work you look up to, you love so much, into your own pieces of subsequent work. Hi everybody, welcome back to another video of me talking about Attack on Titan in whatever way I want. In today's video, I will be comparing and contrasting Eren Yeager and Daenerys Targaryen. Trust me, this video has merit, I promise. Hajime Isayama is a Japanese mangaka who is most notable for his work Attack on Titan. Now, we all know that, but did you know that his work was influenced by the likes of shows like Berserk, Watchmen, movies like Godzilla, and most surprisingly, Jurassic Park? When I was nitpicking the show Attack on Titan for my Attack on Titan series that I will be doing on this channel, what stood out to me was the similarities between Game of Thrones and Attack on Titan. From the walls that protect the civilians, they even work the same way in both worlds. They have the gates that open and shut, they work the same way. It's pretty much the same. To the wildlings, there's giants that could be considered titans. It's kind of the same. But what stood out to me the most was the similarities between our underdog become hero, become villains, Eren Yeager and Daenerys Targaryen. So I just felt compelled to make a video comparing and contrasting the two characters. And you'd be surprised by how similar they are. So, what is Attack on Titan? Attack on Titan is a story about three friends who live amongst what we are made to believe is the remainder of humanity behind three walls. One day, their lives are changed forever when a force known as a Titan breaches the outermost wall, killing our main character Eren's mother and leaving Eren and our two other main characters, Eren's best friends Armin and Mikasa, homeless. They train for the military and Eren vows to get revenge on the Titans for the loss of life and the caging of his people like cattle. There's betrayal, giants, race wars, government coups, mind games, battles of wit, and prostitutes. Eren Yeager discovers that they are not what is left of humanity, but instead what was cast aside by the rest of humanity. They are the outsiders, they are the downtrodden, they are the other. The party most responsible for their subjugation is a country by the name of Marley. Eren, with the power bestowed upon him by his father, decides he will be the one to put an end to all the hatred in the world, with the most heinous act, genocide. Towards the falling action of his mostly successful genocide, his life is ended by his lover, as far as we know. Game of Thrones, written by George R.R. Martin, which goes by the name A Song of Ice and Fire. It's a story about 6 or so different families, all with pretty decent claims to the throne. We have giants, race wars, government coups, we have betrayal and mind games, battles of wit, and prostitutes. We have one person amongst the others who wants the throne more than anyone else. Daenerys Targaryen. It is her birthright to rule over the people of Westeros. Game of Thrones also plays with themes of children paying the price for the sins of their fathers, and Daenerys is no different. The people of Westeros will never really accept her. Her boyfriend leaves her, the queen we all hate kills her only friend, and when she finally wins the war against the Lannisters, it's not enough. And she burns all of the inhabitants to a crisp. She plans to do this all over the world, but her life is tragically cut short by her lover. Now, let's look at the personality and the goals of Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager is a fan-favorite character best known for his rage, powers, and deep love for those who are close to him. He is the Attack Titan. He is Shingeki no Kyojin. He's seen as attractive and reliable by his peers, and he inspires and motivates those around him simply by living and behaving the way most natural to him. His tenacity, determination, and strong will have inspired plenty of the main characters time and time again. He is someone who believes in destiny or fate, or can just see the future, and he's the most passionate character in the series. His relationship with power is that he needs it. Power burdens him, it breaks him down sometimes, but in order to protect his loved ones, he's ready, willing, and determined to acquire the power necessary to do so. Eren the Usurper. A few of his personality traits are selflessness, motivational, self-loathing, not so confident, reserved, reckless, impulsive, and morally gray. It is important to note that he has always been this way. Look at the scene where he ruthlessly kills Mikasa's attackers. He was always willing to take justice into his own hands. The series starts with Eren being wronged by the Titans and displaced to a shelter. His hatred, rage, and need for revenge intensifies. I say intensifies because he already had a lot of resentment with the walls that he felt kept him and his people fenced in like cattle. In his humble beginnings, he has very binary thinking. He's the hero. He's sure of himself, very confident in himself and his team. And then he and his entire team dies. It's worth noting that he sacrifices his life for Armin, but he is saved by his Titan power. Season 1's events affect Eren by consistently chipping away at his ego and self-worth. He is the underdog. It isn't until we hit the middle arc, Season 2, where he has his whole death of ego moment, which he never truly works through. Instead of feeling special and unique, he feels special in the way that everybody is special. Which actually means that no one is special.
Everyone's special, Dash. Which is another way of saying no one is.
In Season 4 and throughout the rest of the manga, he views himself as this unstoppable machine with a goal driving him to successfully commit his purpose, which is freeing his people. Think Moses, just his plague is a gruesome, horrible, terrible mass death, more formally known as genocide. He has no desire to rule over his people, and he'd gladly die for them. Think Jesus. His self-loathing grows as his power does, but since the power was bestowed upon him, he'll take the responsibility and be the one to change things forever. With his power and personality matching up so well, he concludes that he was born to free his people. Now, let's take a look at Daenerys Targaryen's goals and personality. Daenerys is a fan-favorite character known for her rage, power, and deep love for those close to her. She is the last dragon. She is seen as attractive and reliable by those she comes across, and she can inspire anyone she meets just by her mindset alone. But her tenacity gives her an unexpected edge. She believes in destiny and fate. She has to believe in birthrights. Some things that drive her character are her passion. She wants power. Her motivation is selfish. She has a lot of self-love, perhaps even a god complex with a strong belief in herself. And she's very, very confident. She starts the series displaced in a foreign land, fleeing execution after King Targaryen, the Mad King's execution. Before her character development, she's quiet, small, obedient, and unsure of herself. This changes after she is empowered by her husband, Khal Drogo, and the Dothraki. She is filled with rage, however, she is not impulsive. She takes her time and thinks things through. Usually. Except for the time when she saved Jon Snow and lost her dragon, and then lost the other dragon over the sea. But anyway, her character arc at the end of Season 1, after she wins the heart of the Dothraki, she becomes confident in herself, finds out that she's the last dragon or whatever, and it's further proof to her that it is her birthright to be queen and rule over the people. Only she can do this. She has a high pride and an equally high ego that only grows as her power does. Her goal/purpose is to rule. Let's look at the scene where Khal Drogo kills her brother, the only family she has.
Viserys, please.
Ashley.
He says yes. You shall have a golden crown that men shall tremble to behold.
That was all I wanted. What was promised? Kurumai. You cannot touch me! I'm the dragon! I'm the dragon! I want my crown! Look away, Khaleesi.
No.
Danny. Don't go. Make them. No, you can't. Danny, please! A crown for a king. Khaleesi.
He was no dragon. Fire cannot kill a dragon.
She's always had this coldness within her regarding human life. She's burned other seemingly innocent enough people to death in the series, but it was ignored because of her own self-serving quests of freeing slaves. Daenerys, the breaker of chains. They were self-serving and her building her ego to further prove that she is destined to rule. Now we will explore how the two characters are different. They're different because Eren spends the entire series realizing that even though he is the main character of the series, he isn't anyone special. He is just the guy who the power found itself hosted to. He rejects love, he rejects closeness, he denies any small joys in life, and becomes a slave to his goal of freedom. Daenerys spends the first part of the series realizing that she is the main character, and the rest of it proving to herself and others that she is the main character, and she is in fact born to rule. Ruling is her birthright, and her power proves it. Love rejects her, closeness rejects her, and ridding the world of slavery was a means to get to Westeros. In other words, she never really cared about freedom. Unlike Eren, she allows herself happiness in her friendships and with her lovers, and her greatest happiness would be ruling. Losing love and closeness were unfortunate losses, but they don't change her end goal. Another key difference is, they were both kidnapped, Eren plenty of times, and he has struggles with whether he should rely on the help of others or figure it out on his own. Whereas Daenerys has never had this struggle, as she tells Jon Snow that she got as far as she did because she believes in herself. When she is kidnapped by the Dothraki, Daenerys solves this problem completely on her own. She burns them all alive, and she becomes the new Khal. When Eren is kidnapped by Annie, Bert, or Reiner, he struggles with self-doubt and basically sits on his hands until help arrives. This is where Eren's character has barely just developed after Historia saved his life from Rhaenys that day, and continuing into Season 4. Now, he's at the Daenerys level. Another difference is their own feelings towards themselves. They both believe in destiny, Eren believing that since he was born into this world he has no choice but to fight, and fight, and fight, and Daenerys believing in her divine birthright to rule. These beliefs both puppeteer their characters, but the latter is far more egotistical. Daenerys is calm, calculating, and can hold back on her thoughts. These are skills that Eren is just now utilizing effectively in Season 4 and in the manga right now. Another difference is Eren actually cares about freeing slaves and ending subjugation, whereas for Daenerys it was more of a power trip, things to add to her resume. Eren deeply cares for the oppressed and vows to take freedom away from anyone who tries to take his. The final reason I'm going to touch on why they're different is their reasons for committing mass murder. For Eren, it was the only option. The only way to save his people from harm and discrimination was to completely wipe out their threats, which was unfortunately the entire world. He was willing, and I'd argue hoping, to lose his life as a result of his decision. Daenerys, after all of her suffering, she was sold like a brood mare, etc., and so on and so forth, got to her point of victory as nobly as possible, but had to get revenge and blow off some steam or fire to ease the void she was feeling inside. This was an avoidable mass murder, where the murdering of the people was unnecessary to secure her survival. It actually secured her assassination, which is technically the commonality between her and Eren. Their decisions of mass murder resulted in their assassinations. And now we will look at some reasons why they are alike. They are alike because they both have this deep and ultimately damning rage that leads to their deaths. They've been wronged by society, and their response was to completely change the society that made them an outcast. Daenerys frequently spoke of breaking the wheel and ending slavery. Eren wants to put an end to the old world of discrimination and racism and end slavery as well, in every form: mental, chattel, and indoctrination from societies and parents. And lastly, their lives, which were filled with cruelness and torture, subjugation and loneliness, led them down a path where they ended the series, committing mass murder. They both committed mass murder. So I wouldn't think it's a stretch to assume that Eren is based a little bit, if not loosely, then heavily off of Daenerys' character. In both situations, we have a underdog who turns into the hero, who ultimately turns into the villain. And in each step of the process, there's not really a change of the basic core values within the character. It's worth noting that everything that makes both of the characters a strong protagonist is also the same exact things that would make them the strong antagonist. They both have very strong reasons why they're fighting, they both have very tragic backstories, and they use this to propel and fuel their anger, their rage, their hurt, so they can achieve their goal, which ultimately turns into mass murder. You can see with clear eyes how they went from point A to point C. Point B was just all of the power coming together. And point C was them utilizing the power for their ultimate goal. So yeah, I think they're pretty similar. Like, despite the different worlds and everything, I think the two characters are pretty similar. And I think the two series are slightly kind of similar. They both have the same, like, punching shock value that's in your face. How you thought this was going to happen? No, this is going to happen. You thought this character was like that? No, this character is like this. All the warning signs were here for this character to behave this certain way. Now, take all of those personality traits and put them in this dire situation, and the morals seem gray. But they have always thought this way. It's just brilliant on both ends. George R.R. Martin, Hajime Isayama. You guys are thebomb.com. Anyways, that's the video. Come back in 2 days for another one. Bye.